They say if you want something digested right, you have to eat it yourself. That new catchphrase was submitted by Healy J, but edited by me. With me, not as always, is Willie South, our new host, because the last one got fired. What's up, Willie?
Yeah, I heard everyone was sick of that woke little girl on here.
Nothing new. Go woke, go
It's
broke.
been me all along!
No, damn you, ruling class and your tricks. I mean, working class. I've got my classes mixed up. Willow, it's you. What's it like being the darling of the class conscious?
It feels amazing, thank you for asking. Workers of the world unite, we have nothing to lose but our chains.
Yeah, I love that the banter for this section is going to be like 20 minutes long, because I also had my opening bit. You should be aware that I did finally just buy this. So you know what's coming, right?
Amazing.
For the audio listeners, I'm holding a ukulele case, but the audio listeners, you could just skip this whole portion because they don't read or write paragraph-long comments about the perspectives that we share on the show. Hold on, let me get this case open.
Gossip train.
Hold on, you're spoiling it. Let me show you what's inside of my... Psych! It was a gun, a loaded gun. This is for everybody. Derek, you might have to blur that and bleep that. I don't know what the rules are for YouTube censorship or how that works. Yeah, we should just...
Christ.
Yeah, Bree used to have a ukulele, but I guess it's empty. I went to go open it, and there's nothing inside, so I'm like, how am I going to pivot?
For everybody watching, I did not know that was going to happen.
Me neither.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I gotta pull it together now.
I feel like for this one, you might as well just speed run the entire episode. Some new restaurants are launching. The fancy ones are bad, and the accessible ones are good. AI is being used in a new way in the food industry, and that's bad. Grocery stores are trying something new, and grocery stores are bad. And there are 3 new products that all collaborate with the trendy celebrities. And the celebrities are okay, but the snack companies are bad.
Maybe I am gonna lose my job after all. That was fantastic. Straight to the point. We love it. We love it.
For everybody keeping score, my 3 biggest strikes against me now in influencer history are doing an ad for Kroger, mentioning white people tacos, and insisting that Noma isn't overrated, which, as we all know, is a highly contrarian opinion. But at least I don't have to worry about audience capture. I think that every time we flush out people who have to write an essay about how they don't have space in their lives for someone like me anymore, we're doing good work.
Yeah, and I just want to remind everyone that for the sake of my job here, be nice to him, guys. I like doing this.
This is exactly the type of stuff that's going to foment this conspiracy that you're a captive employee of me and you have to make sure that I'm happy in order to continue to keep your job.
Don't hit me.
I don't know if you were on Discord that day, but what is funny is that the day that episode dropped, it's only 25% related to all this, but the Discord server raised $750 or $1,000 for the New York City DSA, Democratic Socialists of America. So it's funny the way things work out sometimes.
Everybody join the Discord.
Oh, yeah, please. The last thing I want to say is that I think what is funny is that when I respond to these stories that we do, I deliberately try not to respond with this thing good or this thing bad, especially because I despise the wannabe discourse of this take good and this take bad. And that's why you end up getting reactions from me that start with, my baby screams when he doesn't get chocolate milk. And this is a lot like that. And, there was one comment that was something like, I understand that and I like that he's usually not sensational, but if there was ever a time to not be unsensational, now is the time. Okay. I understand. The only morally just response is outraged. I'm working and I'm improving. Thank you.
Bon Appetit recently published an article theorizing that the easiest veggie burger might not be a burger at all. Waxing poetic over summer produce, writer Emma LaPerouse forgoes the grill entirely and explains that her preferred veggie burger is simply a thick slab of summer tomato dressed up with all the fixings of a regular burger. Vegans, vegetarians, and carnivores alike have since descended upon BA's social media to express their confusion and disdain in the comments.
I agree. The easiest veggie burger might not be a burger at all. It's actually a spinach smoothie. What do you think about that? What? Huh?
If a slice of tomato can be a burger, then a smoothie can be a burger, then anything can be a burger. I mean, it's a sandwich. A burger is a sandwich. That's about as close as we're getting here.
Yeah, and I'm not a burger purist. I think chicken burgers exist. And I'm not a vegetable hater because I eat many alt burgers, mushroom burgers, things like that. I think this is a failing on the treatment of burgers and tomatoes alike, because you're better off just making a tomato sandwich and calling it a tomato sandwich. I don't know why it's so normal and easy to justify when one person is online doing wacky stuff, but seeing a big established company do something like this, it just makes me go what's going on here? Do you think BA is looking at New York Times successful rage bait and trying to get a taste of that?
Based on the comments, I gotta be honest, I think it has to be. I mean, I get it. Like, it probably tastes fine. It's just a burger without the burger. It's basically what Five Guys does. If you go there and you get a veggie sandwich, it's that, but they at least have the decency to put some like sauteed peppers and onions on there, so it feels a little bit more like a sandwich. But they have the decency to not call it a burger either. Based on the comments and how upset people were, I think it has to be rage bait. And if not, BA, if you want some good vegetarian content, I'm right over here.
Yeah, she's already looking for a new job. I guess the only other explanation I could think of was like maybe the search engine optimization for BLT was looking really bad this summer for some reason. Like maybe people have BLT fatigue. And so maybe they had to go with veggie burger to explain this. But, everybody who's watching, just tomato and mayo on bread is a perfectly serviceable sandwich. I'm not saying that it has to be like a high effort veggie burger or have a bunch of different stuff in it or even be in patty form. I don't know. Just call it a tomato sandwich. I don't know why we would have to do this.
To play devil's advocate for a second, it's my turn finally.
Yes.
I've been to so many restaurants that offered like a portobello burger, and it is just a grilled portobello mushroom cap. So maybe this is kind of that situation. I guess you could call it a tomato burger, but you're not even cooking it. Maybe grill the tomato.
Yeah, well, regarding that portobello burger, you didn't come to your full conclusion. Is that good or bad?
A portobello burger in general, or the concept of yes.
Good or bad? Good? Yes? Bad? Yes?
Yes, I like a portobello burger. I would agree that calling it a burger is a bit of a stretch. But at least there's something there. The thing is like a mushroom is not on your standard burger, but a tomato is a standard burger topping, so it just feels like a hollow burger.
Well, you say portobello burgers are good, and so you are contrarian and nitpicking and biased, so bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Zachary Levitt, known online as Zach Makes and Zach Projects, has gained attention for his videos chronicling a perpetual stew that he's been maintaining for 80 days and counting. He's taken food safety seriously by investing in tools for this risky endeavor, armed with an infrared thermometer, immersion circulator, and a custom 3D printed enclosure to manage temperature and odor. Currently unemployed, Levitt has turned the stew into a source of income, earning about $5,000 a month from TikTok, and says he hopes to keep it going indefinitely, even joking that he wants to be added to the stew when he dies.
The phrase currently unemployed is a really hilarious thing to just toss in there. Was that a little Willow spice when you were reporting on that?
No, that was in the original article, which is why I thought it was so funny. If he's making $5,000 a month doing this, I guess he's not unemployed.
Yeah,
it feels
like
good
money.
Something else that I did not include in this that they shaded him for in the article was that they said that he was doing the perpetual stew in his childhood bedroom, but I'm guessing he just lives at home. He's like a young guy. If he wasn't living at home, it would be very difficult to maintain the stew every day. So to call it his childhood bedroom, currently unemployed, I feel bad for him.
I know.
He's making decent money doing it.
We sort of canonize these tech workers who start a business in their garage, and yet this guy's self-employed in his own home, and why doesn't he get the same treatment?
Yeah, and it's funny, I feel like this is looked at in a super goofy way, and reasonably so. I mean, it is very silly the way it's presented. But there was actually a girl who went viral for a very similar thing a couple years ago. There was like a New York Times article that I think I have linked below on the Patreon for this. And she hosted like a community-wide perpetual soup event, and it went on for like 60 days, and people would come and offer their own ingredients to the soup, and then they would try the soup, and it would morph over these weeks. Fascinating, disgusting.
Right. It does make total sense from a social media standpoint. Like this type of media has a built-in narrative arc. It has a compelling hook. It has a reason to tune in and hang around because you want to see how the stew develops. But from an actionable cooking standpoint, I'm left thinking, what's the point? Like, why can't we just leave this in the 1700s, back when people used to do this?
Yeah, we have freezers now. We have refrigeration. If you really are trying to meal prep like that, I highly recommend just getting some deli containers, freezing your soup in individual portions. I do worry that like people who see this kind of thing on TikTok might feel compelled to try it themselves, like for funsies. To which I say, please don't do that. You're probably going to make yourself sick if you're just fucking around.
Okay, so the closest I come to something like this is poaching a chicken in plain water, using that chicken broth to cook beans, and then using the leftover bean water to make rice. And I think that's 3 uses out of 1 pot of water. But for something like this, perpetual stew, I would either get tired of having the same flavor profile like all the time, every day, or I would be making wild swings that throw everything off balance. Like if I put yuzu juice in it, it's not going to go away easily, I imagine, or like black garlic. And if I started with a bunch of like Mexican or Asian ingredients, I feel like there's not going to be a ton of flexibility that remains cohesive. And so, unfortunately, the stupidest part of my reaction to this is that my own solution.
Stupidest.
Very good, very good. You're back. You're hired again. You can keep your job forever. The stupidest part of my own solution is that if I wanted to do this, I would want to have 5 perpetual stews going at all times so I can like base different meals on different flavor profiles, and imagine how insane my kitchen would look. Like, oh yeah, that's my perpetual stew counter. Don't touch it.
You've just got like 5 crock pots. There's a gate around everything, a vent hood going outside. What I do think is interesting, though, is that there are restaurants incorporating this idea into their business. There's like a centuries-old restaurant in Japan. I don't have the name written down. I failed to do that. But they have been using the same dashi since 1945, which is crazy. And on the surface sounds disgusting. I'm much less freaked out by it in the context of a restaurant than I am just some guy doing it in his bedroom, though. I will admit that trying to scroll through this guy's videos to research for this episode made me feel sick.
I'll say that the dashi thing feels a little bit less weird because it's always dashi. Like stew is just such a broad term that it's just like, oh yeah, today it tastes like garlic and tomorrow I might put strawberries in it. Like the fact that it's always dashi and it's just like, yeah, water evaporates, but then we add water back or something like that. It's always one thing, and that feels a little bit safer and more comfortable. I won't be doing it, but I commend this person for opening people's minds and eyes to stuff like this. Sort of like the guy on Instagram who like eats raw chicken every day to prove that he won't get sick. There's just going to be more and more people like this living such strange worlds that we'll never explain. Sort of like the guy who trains just one trap. Have you seen that? He just raises what is it? Trapezius muscle. So he looks insane. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. We don't have to continue with this story. It's weird, and I think everybody agrees with that, unless I'm being contrarian.
Brazilian meatpacking giant JBS has recently debuted on the New York Stock Exchange, gaining access to U.S. capital markets despite a long history of corruption, including price fixing, environmental and labor violations, and bribery of nearly 2,000 Brazilian politicians. Despite this corrupt legacy and a history of bipartisan political opposition, this debut comes mere weeks after a $5 million donation was made by JBS to the Trump administration. Critics warn this move will accelerate industry consolidation, increase the fragility of America's food supply, and allow JBS to continue environmentally harmful practices.
So this article, or I guess story, came to us via a YouTube video. I saw a video on the channel called A More Perfect Union, and it was really blackpilling kind of. There's companies that are easy to reference as like big evil mega corporations like Cisco, Aramark, Nestle, Monsanto, and then you just have guys like JBS that put them all to shame. There's like bipartisan opposition to this, and what's crazy about the coverage is that it's the first time I've heard of Tyson, the chicken meat company, talking down on someone's practices. Someone commented like 3 days ago on one of my shorts saying like, oh geez, Tyson is catching strays with this one. I was like, there are no strays for Tyson. Tyson deserves 10 rounds to the dome.
Pew,
and like Tyson is so bad, and they're just like, all right, JBS, like chill out a little bit.
Yeah, you know it's bad when like the worst of the worst is like, no, like stay away from them. This was a really crazy video for me to watch. Particularly because of like some conversations that I've been having in my personal life recently. I've mentioned it before on the show, and I am not quite there yet. But I would consider myself, after like 20 years of being a vegetarian, to be a little bit meat curious. You know, it's been a long time. I feel like there's new interesting things for me to try. But watching this video made my stomach turn a little bit when they started talking about briberies to ship rancid meat and things like that. And yeah, I really don't know that I will be eating meat right after watching this.
Yeah,
you know, I think that this might have pushed me back a month or two.
It is truly the second coming of Upton Sinclair's The Jungle, but Bree was also a pescatarian for 20 years, and she's dipped her little toes into trying certain types of meat, especially because I have that Porter Road sponsorship. What's the code? 15 Shack.
15 Shack.
For 15% off. But, you know, they send me free meat as part of the sponsorship. And so she's able to try things. And she's like, okay, burger, I'm not down with burger. Chicken, I like the breast, stuff like that. But speaking of chicken, the snack wrap is finally out. Have you been watching any coverage over it?
I have seen so many reels and TikToks about the snack wrap. Everyone's pissed. Everyone hates it. Everyone is begging for the chicken selects back. I never ate the original snack wrap, so I certainly can't compare. I haven't had the new one, obviously, either. But it looks bad. When you look at pictures of the old one next to pictures of the new one, this one looks way worse.
Yeah, well, the reason I bring it up is because people, yeah, like you said, are all over TikTok, like gagging and retching over the low quality meat. It looks really bad. They're calling it rotator cuff chicken meat. And so
Ugh.
this is like this impossible thing to meet consumer demands for extremely low prices without committing atrocities of animal welfare and meat quality. And like people like JBS and Tyson are just like, well, let's just do the atrocities. By the way, hey, YouTube comments, I'm just explaining how something is at this time. I'm not endorsing it or co-signing it by explaining how it works. But yeah, things are pretty bad for meat production. I think food production in general.
Yeah, and it is unfortunate because it was the way that this was being talked about in the video. It looks like JBS controls a lot of the meat that goes out to places like public schools and nursing homes and things like that. So you see that this really low quality, like gray, great value type meat is being served to people's children's in public schools and things like that. And obviously, eat what you can afford to eat, buy the groceries that you can afford to eat. Not everyone can spend, what is it, like 60 something dollars on a Porter Road spatchcock chicken. Like, I get it. But if you are in a place where you can afford to spend a couple extra bucks on something a little bit better, not only are the animals and the farmers, the ranchers going to appreciate that, I think your taste buds and your tummy might too.
That's what I hate so much about those YouTube videos that are just like, are expensive eggs worth it? Is expensive chicken worth it? It's just like, what? According to what? Like, yeah, maybe you can't tell the difference in a blindfolded taste test, and that might just mean that you're a tasteless.
That's shame right
No,
there.
no, cut that out. Bleep that. Derek, please bleep that. Anyway, I think getting listed on the New York Stock Exchange is a big deal because it gives people access to own a piece of the company. And so that makes it so that investors become more invested in the company's success. And the real danger, in my opinion, is when a company this evil makes its way into millions of people's retirement funds or the S&P 500, where everybody is going to get a piece of it. So nobody wants to see the number go down. And so I'm a broad market investor. I don't think it feels good to own slivers of the worst organizations in the world. And this is the last time I'm going to like reference the whole drama thing. But P.S. That's why it's so important to learn like how certain systems function, even if you don't like their current state. It's going to be really hard to gain leverage to make change if you don't participate in, for example, like the single most reliable path to wealth, which is stock ownership. There isn't a whole lot of actionable advice or response to this other than please try not to invest when they get listed. And if you're the praying type, pray that they pull a Luckin and get quickly delisted from the New York Stock Exchange.
All right, I've got a couple new products for you this week that hopefully don't gross you out as much as the last story did. I've got Flora Fiber Bars, Howl at the Spoon Fruit Dust, and Nut Pods Candy Corn Non-Dairy Coffee Creamer.
The fiber bar is actually kind of fascinating to me because it's novel enough but familiar enough. It's like a protein bar, but if it manages to taste good, that would be awesome. Like I used to bake my juicer pulp into crackers, and by used to, I mean I did it one time because it was disgusting.
What I found really interesting is that the woman behind this is Jenny of Jenny's ice cream fame. I thought that was a really interesting pivot to go from something so decadent to like poop bar. There's like 14 grams of fiber in one bar or something like that, which is a lot. I will say if you are one of the many Americans vastly under consuming fiber, maybe start with half a bar. You might have a tough time. I have a feeling that if these were to become popular, they might have sort of like an Olipop moment where everyone's like, whoa, the soda's making me poop. Because you're just simply not used to consuming enough fiber.
I will know that the high fiber trend has officially been successful when it stops being known as a doo-doo supplement, because it's like, I've spent so much time learning about like soluble and insoluble fiber and how it feeds your gut microbiome and gut diversity and things like that. I'm just like, there's so many benefits to fiber other than just dookies, but that's where we're at right now, and we'll see where we go in the future. Regarding Howl at the Spoon, I, for a half second, thought that sounds incredibly weird and kind of stupid, but I said that about powdered peanut butter, and now I totally get it. Not only does this powdered fruit dust have all of the benefits of selling like freeze-dried snacks, which were trendy for a while, but it also makes it more attractive by being as flexible as just plain fruit. Like you can make everyday people feel chefy and gourmet when they put a little bit of like, I don't know, strawberry dust on their matcha latte or something like that.
I do agree that it's cute for stuff like that. What I think is interesting is I don't see them really being usable for a lot of different stuff. They're not individual fruit flavors. They're all like blends where it's like mango, pineapple, strawberry, coconut, pear dust, and things like that. And while that does sound like fun and cool on like a silly little drink or a yogurt bowl or something, it seems like the kind of thing that might just get pushed to the back of the cabinet, get used a couple times, and then humidity coagulate together in the back of your cabinet or something. I do think that it could be a cute thing for kids. You know, if you have kids that really struggle to eat fruits and vegetables, having a little like fairy dust type product might make it more appealing. But I can't really see this being something that a lot of adults would gravitate towards. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, the hardest thing that they're going to have to overcome is, the problem that jerky has, which is once you suck all of the water out of something, the price per pound just gets preposterous. And it's like, oh my gosh, $100 a pound for jerky. And then you try making it yourself and you're like, I'm going to go back to buying jerky. Like freeze drying it takes away a lot of the weight, but at least it looks, freeze dried items look puffy and look like they take up a lot of volume. And then you grind it into a dust and even that is gone. So you're just like, wow, this is a lot for such a small container. The last product is the nut pods. I feel like, what are the odds that nut pods tasted it and they were just like, this weird thing kind of tastes like candy corn. Let's just brand it as such, a la Grapple. I don't know if you're old enough to remember Grapple, the grape flavored apple, but it was just some kind of like, not pesticide, but birdicide, like bird deterrent spray that they put on the apples that just happened to taste like grapes. And they're just like, let's just leave it on. It's food safe. This is a Grapple.
I not to actually you, but I think you're wrong about that. I'm pretty sure. I think grapples. I forget what the name of the chemical, but they are Fuji or Gala apples that have essentially just been soaked in grape flavoring.
Hmm. Mm,
I'm pretty sure.
I thought the grape flavoring was also like a food safe bird deterrent, but we'll have
Derek. That could be. I have not heard that. I did a little bit of research when I saw your notes about that, but I did not see that.
What notes? We react to everything in real time. Derek, please put a big drum roll here.
Beep.
Derek, please put a big drum roll here and reveal which one of us is more correct on this debate. Thank you very much.
A big howdy to the eaters and to the digesters out there. My name is Derek, and it is very, very, very nice to meet you. Thankfully, in the matter of the grapple, pronounced grapple, both Shaq and Willow are correct. You make a grapple by soaking a regular apple in a grape-flavored compound called methyl anthranilate, which is indeed also a bird repellent. YouTuber Nile Red even makes his own and breaks down the chemistry in his video. I cry for hours every time they fight, so I'm glad that everybody wins. So, yeah. Thanks for listening to the pod. Shouts out the Salt Cellar. Grapples forever. I love you. Goodbye, and back to the show.
Now, I do have one honorable mention product I would like to throw in here at the very end. Have you seen the new David's protein bar?
Imagine the bell curve chart meme where it's on the left side is cod and in the middle is like scientifically perfected, highly researched protein supplements. And then on the right side is cod. Because yes, I have seen David's is releasing a new protein bar that's frozen cod. Well done.
When I saw this, I thought it had to be like Photoshop or a meme. And I don't know if I'm amused or disappointed to find out that it's real. It's very, silly marketing a la, all the crazy stuff that Liquid Death has been doing. Obviously, it's going to get people talking. I am hard pressed to think that this is going to be like a net positive for them, though. It's just strange.
What's funny enough is that this is now the second time in 1 month that I'm mentioning that thing that parents do where they put Bluey stickers on their bag of frozen salmon to be like, look, it's Bluey salmon. Like, this isn't cod, it's David's cod. And I feel the same way where you're just like kind of conflicted where it's like, okay, great. The kids eating salmon and the adults are eating cod, but gosh, I wish we all just weren't so stupid that this worked.
I'm just imagining like someone cooking dinner for their like meathead bodybuilder boyfriend who only eats like boiled chicken and rice, and she's like, no, it's the David's protein cod.
I buy vitamin D enriched whole milk, and I looked at the ingredients the other day. I was like, this is just whole milk with fish oil added. I never noticed that or knew that, and maybe they do something similar where it's like this is cod with something extra on top. But golly, I don't know whether I hope they succeed or fail. It's just one of those things where you're just like, all right. It is what it is.
I'm really going to be on the lookout for like videos of people hopefully like unboxing David's cod. I think that would be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Come with me to try the new David's cod.
God, I'm picturing it like in protein bar flavors too. Like, this is the birthday cake, God. Like,
Chocolate cod.
terrible, absolutely terrible.
Thank you for another week of service. I can't tell if this is a bad time or a good time to mention that we are taking the entire month of August off for summer break so that everybody can chill out and take a summer break. But now you know, everybody. Well, over the winter break, we took 2 weeks, and that was so awesome that I'm just like, hey, what if we doubled it and gave it to the next person?
Don't forget about us, guys.
Well, you'll be able to spend those entire 4 weeks dedicated solely to getting us a bunch of free products. I DM'd the Folded Chip Company. Now, this is like 8 weeks later. I was like, please, if I ask really nicely, will you send me a bag of the folded chips? Like, thinking, well, they only have like 400 followers. Surely they'll notice that a verified Instagram account is asking for free product. They didn't say anything. I think that they hate their own product, if I'm going to be honest. I've been spending time on their website. I don't think they're proud of it.
This is barely related, but have you seen the video going around about the girl whose friend gave her a bag of completely folded potato chips for her birthday?
Yes, I did. My mom sent it to me, actually.
That's great. That's a good gift idea for you.
Yeah, and if she bought the folded potato chips, her work would have been cut down by maybe 20%. I'm going to roll with that they're
But
not.
they might not have all been folded in there. She probably did a better job than the folded company did.
Yeah. Well, the banter section was too long. The new product section is officially too long. I think it's time we end this show for the week. Thank you all for being here. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Eater's Digest is published every Friday on YouTube, Spotify, and other podcast platforms. You can also get a text-based version delivered to your email every Friday at patreon.com/Shack.